So this is the latest update for DreamGen. DreamGen is a polyrhythm generator and visualizer, and you can select from a bunch of built-in presets, or you can sort of design your own from scratch with the menus. So first we can take a look at a few of these built-in sounds. So if we use this preset as a base to work with, we can hit play and then maybe we'll start with the audio tab. So you've got effects like a reverb, filter, low pass filter, and a pitch modulation control. So we can bring down the reverb a little bit, and we can also bring down the filter and wash out some of those higher sounds. Bring them in a bit more. And the pitch is pretty fun to play with live as well. And then you can also change the actual sound itself. So we can change to a nylon guitar, which is much more harsh, so we probably want to bring the filter down a bit more for that one. And you can put in some more reverb. And so that's basically the audio tab. And then we can set the notes, which is basically the number of notes and then how fast they're going, as well as the sort of rhythm pattern that they're following. So we can increase the number of notes, and that can go between 0 and 100, and then we can also select between a bunch of different pitch patterns, and these pitch patterns will actually define the pitch of each of the notes. So you can sort of hear how that changes the whole tonality of the polyrhythm. If you want a more manual control, you can start with the pitch pattern, then you can actually right click on the number of notes, and then you can set each individual note pitch. So I could set that one to 3, and now it'll update that one, so the first lowest pendulum is a pitch of E2 rather than C2. And then you can also sort of set the BPM or the speed. So if we speed it up, then it's a much faster polyrhythm, and if it's faster we probably want a few less notes, so I'll bring that number of notes down again. And then so this converged factor basically tells us how quickly the pendulum will return to its original state. So if we set this much higher to 100, it'll sort of be a much shorter loop, so it'll loop back to the start point much quicker, and you'll see that happen right now. So it's gone back to its original state. Whereas if you set it to something much lower, like 1 even, then it will just evolve really slowly over time. And also if the BPM is slower, then it will also evolve slower as well. So then there's also this diverge option, and if we start changing the diverge parameter, it'll actually disable this converge one. And what diverge does is similar to converge, except that over a large period of time it'll actually create a more chaotic rhythm, so it'll sort of go out of sync rather than converging and back to its original state again. So you can sort of get some more chaotic melodies and rhythms with this one, which is why I really like it. take a look at the visual side. So in the visuals menu, you've got the first big ones are bloom and particles, so they'll really change the feel of it. And yeah, a lot of bloom and a lot of particles can make it feel like you're in space or whatever you want to imagine it as. But yeah, we can really turn them back down to a more manageable level. And then you can also set the colors of all of the notes, and you can set the color of the chords, as well as the background itself. So yeah, we could choose a different color, but generally like the darker colors are pretty nice for the background because it sort of gives you some contrast between the glowing pendulums. And then in the bottom left corner, we've also got the actual motion type itself. So we can select between these 4 different options. We're in pendulum at the moment. There's linear, which is like up and down. Then there's circular, where they'll go just, yeah, round in a circle. And finally there's void, where they'll sort of fly backwards or in and out of a void, basically, you could imagine it. And then you can also set the shapes, so you can make them rectangles. And I like rectangles with the linear pattern. I think the rectangles look nice on this motion type particularly. And you can also set it to rebound, so then they bounce off the line down the bottom instead of just passing through it in the middle. And that does work with the different motion types, but it'll look maybe a bit strange with some of them, so just gotta have a play and find which ones that you like. And then finally we can have a look at the chords tab. So in the chords tab you can set the number of chords. At the moment they're these aqua ones, so there's 8 of them, and we could maybe bring it down to 4 chords instead. And then you can set the progression, which, similar to the notes, it'll just choose between a predefined list of chords, which will sort of change the feel of the overall polyrhythm. So this one we landed on is a 6-6-6-2, which means it's not changing every bar, but we could find something different. And this one's a 1-4-5-4, so C to F major, G major, back to F major. And so there's a few different options there, but then you can also type in manually if you want to set the chords yourself. And then there's also this bar number, and that'll basically determine the frequency of these chords. So we can set it to 2, and now these will basically be playing only every 2 bars, so that it's like this time span of the chords basically. Or you can set it even slower to 1 every 4 bars. And basically the bar is determined based on the speed of this slowest note, so you can see the one that's going slowly, whenever that one hits, that's a bar is counted. And so that's basically all of these tabs. There's also this info view, which you can have up somewhere in your view, and basically it'll show you a little explanation of the different parameters as you hover your mouse over a parameter. So that might be helpful if you're just learning the program still. And then there's a few other options, so you can create a new preset here, you can reset the preset, and then you can pause and stop time. Then also, if you want a more immersive view of your polyrhythm, you can hit escape, and that'll sort of hide all of the menus. So even if you've got all of your menus open, you can hit escape, and that'll just go into the polyrhythm view. And then the final couple of features are sort of in this file menu up here. And if you hit file and then export MIDI, you can export a MIDI clip of your current polyrhythm, and you just set the start and end time and the name of the clip. Then you can open up the folder to view all of your MIDI clips that you've exported. And then there's also, yeah, just saving presets here. So you can save as a new preset. So we could save this one as Sleepy version 2 or something. And then if you go into your show presets folder, you'll be able to see all of your presets. So you can see the new one we just created, and they're actually just plain text files. So you can really easily share them with friends, and you just have to import it back into this folder, and it should refresh as soon as you put new presets in there. So you can just open them up from here. But that's about it for now, and that's sort of the features of the new version of DreamGen, which I'm quite excited about, and we really would love to hear your feedback on what you think of all of these features. So if you feel like contributing to the direction of the project, feel free to join the Discord, and we're always open to talking with anyone. But thanks for watching.